All right, so I've opened up my PSD inside of Photoshop. And in there, I can see that I've got a layer called UV Snapshot. Now what Maya does is it leaves the UV Snapshot layer outside of this group layer that Maya generated. Anything that I want to appear on my geometry has got to reside inside this group folder. And if I accidentally make a layer and it's outside, this will not appear on my model. So it's just a matter of coming back and moving it down into that folder. So I'm going to click on layer 1, which is my default checkerboard pattern that was generated by Maya. Now I don't need that anymore because I squared my texture map out the way I wanted it inside of Maya. So I'm going to fill that with black. I'll hit D on the keyboard to go to my default black and white in Photoshop. And I'm going to hold down the Option, hit my delete key, and now it's pretty clear what my UV snapshot looks like. I don't want to move this. Be very careful. In fact, what you may find yourself doing is locking that UV snapshot, because if you move this, your reference will move in Maya and your texture map will be off. So try not to move that UV map that you see. So I'm going to click on layer 1, and I'm going to open up the texture that I was going to use for the lampshade. So I've gone in and I've got a flower pattern that I wanted to use inside of Maya. So let me just go ahead and open that up. And I'll copy it and paste it in. Now I've already gone in and I've copied and pasted, I've duplicated this, and I made this pattern to fit across. So that's another chore. You know, you have your Photoshop chops will serve you well in this context. But to save time, I've already done this. All right, so now I've got what I want here. I'm going to hit Command S to save. Now if I were to jump back into Maya, and if I select my lampshade, right-click and choose Material Attributes, my attributes will appear over on the right-hand side. And if I go to the lampshade texture and I click on the box at the far right-hand side where the node is connected, you see that it updates. And there's my texture. Now, be very careful. Always click on Reload. Maya very often will give you a false positive. You may see it in your texture, in your viewport. But when you go to render it, if you had an animation, Maya may not render your texture. So it's very important that you do click on the word reload. Now I'm going to do one other thing that happens with Photoshop and layers. I'm going to come up here to the right of the name, and you'll see there are these two boxes with these little triangles in them. I'm going to click on the one at the bottom because I've gone back to my original node. Where it says transparency, I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose break connection. That will assure me that my texture will appear when I do my final renders.